Reptilian is a dirty word in the ET and conspiracy communities. The long-running History Channel show, Ancient Aliens, has discussed our reptilian overlords at length, as has celebrated author and researcher David Icke. The Dragos, or lizard people, are viewed as an evil race of humanoid, upright-walking, scaly lizard creatures who exist to overtake planets and enslave the populations for their own enrichment. This idea of the reptilian wickedness has its origins from the late 1800s, and the existence of evil lizard people is a theory that was once fringe but has now been gradually becoming more of a mainstream idea in the last 20 years or so. Yes, evil does exist, but it's not always wrapped in a reptilian package. Darkness can be found in all sorts of vessels. Our issues on Earth are not solely due to off-world reptilian interference. What if I were to tell you that there are other humanoid reptilian species that were benevolent and are willing to help others in need? Some of these starseed souls may have been involved in the creation of Earth itself. So let me introduce the Cofos, a benevolent, shape-shifting race of reptilians that embrace positive change and protection of themselves and others. Hello, and welcome to this paradigm-shifting video. My name is Erin Lynn, and I'm an Akashic record researcher and galactic channel. Today, we're going to shatter some strongly held beliefs about alien life. So be forewarned, the information in this video may be triggering or cause cognitive dissonance. As we have been exploring in this series thus far, as much as we think we know what other life exists out there in the universe, the reality is we know nothing. I include myself in that, as well as I too am on this journey of a galactic discovery. We're going to discuss another alien race from the Corvus or Crow constellation. These ETs inhabit Gamma Corvi. It also has an Arabic name of Gina. However, this group prefers to be known on Earth by their own name for their planet and themselves. So the name of their planet is Cofo, and the beings call themselves Cofos. What's most interesting about the Cofos is that they are, and always have been, a benevolent force in our universe. But what's more interesting is that they are a reptilian race. For those informed on the known alien races, as well as the behind-the-scenes oppressive forces present on Earth, are very familiar with the reptilians. And I'm in no way denying that negative reptilian races both exist and are an issue on our own world. Nonetheless, at this time of this recording, there are at least 4 other reptilian races that I am familiar with who are indeed benevolent. So there are many other alien species out there that would fall into the category of reptilian. However, only a small percentage of them are negative. And there are many ET races amongst the stars of various subspecies that are evil. And there are humanoid ET races that work for the dark as well. But not all humanoid species are bad. So the same reasoning can be applied to the reptilian galactic races. Let's apply another triggering adjective to the Cofos. They are shapeshifters. And the term shape-shifting reptilian has always been tied to evil and those who are trying to harm us on Earth. It has been believed that those shape-shifting reptilians are behind most of our problems here. It's been said that many of those in power on Earth are shape-shifting reptilian aliens using a human facade in their quest to enslave us. Now, there have also been claims of large reptilian beings who live in caves or in underground installations that feed on human beings. Now, I'm not saying that that may or may not be true, as I'm not denying the existence of negative reptilian species. But what I'm saying is the Cofos are reptilian, but they are not a race to be feared, nor do they want to harm us. Cofo is a physical planet inhabited by benevolent physical beings, currently in the 10th dimension. They have a large population, but there are no cities or urban areas, just natural settings. And I really wouldn't call it a desert planet, but I also wouldn't exactly call it a lush or tropical one either. It's somewhere in between. So the ground looks somewhat sandy with patches of greenery. There are lots of gray, granite mountain and other natural rocky structures there. The plant life is somewhat tropical looking, but not entirely so. They have lots of trees that are giant and palm-like. But there's also lots of spiky yellow and green shrubs with red flowers. It just feels like a place that's stuck between two extreme climates. And I'm told that they have long periods of natural drought, followed by a short but intense monsoon season on their planet. So this climate pattern is what kind of creates this unique ecosystem. And while I'm told they do have one golden yellow sun, I haven't been able to see it myself. There are lots of fluffy clouds in the sky, and their sun, combined with their cloud formations, simply make the sky glow this beautiful yellow golden color. And as the sun sets for nighttime, their sky turns a vibrant orange color. When I first met a Cofo being, and they were a bit shy about showing themselves to me, upon seeing them, I immediately recognized them from yet another pop culture reference from my early childhood. They are very reminiscent of the Sleestack beings on the children's Saturday morning TV show called Land of the Lost. It originally aired from 1974 to 1976. Of course, I saw it in the reruns, but if you haven't seen Land of the Lost, it's a campy must-watch. There are many mystical beings portrayed on that show, but the Sleestacks were prominently featured. Naturally, they are shown as nasty, hissing, cave-dwelling, bipedal reptilians. And I will provide a link to a Sleestack scene below in the show notes for reference. Again, this is just one of the many examples of that slow drip of truth through popular culture. So what we see in entertainment is all fantasy, right? When I inquired with the Cofos about how they felt regarding the Sleestack portrayal, they said they were disappointed. While they were interested in having their likenesses out there in the public consciousness, this group does not want to be linked to the negative reptilian stereotype, which the Sleestack characters propagated. I was told that this idea was not from them directly, but came from a subconscious memory of one of the show's creators. And perhaps their soul had spent some time on Cofo in a past incarnation. Yet this creator made them the main villains of the show. And this may also tie into our own feelings about reptiles in general. You know, snakes, lizards, etc. are perceived by most on Earth as unfeeling and cold creatures. As it is with many things on Earth, if we can't understand them or relate to them well, we automatically assume these creatures are up to no good. All reptilian races within our universe have some sort of genetic connection. Therefore, the Cofo species does share some DNA with the Dragos, but they do not serve the same master. As I mentioned in the Zavijavan episode, certain numbers of good, evil, and neutral energies are all permitted to exist. The balance of each is what is important. So in order for free will to exist, there must be a choice of which master to serve. The Cofos never have had any kind of working relationship with the Dragos. The Cofo beings are about 8 feet or 2.5 meters tall. They stand upright on 2 legs. They have exceptionally large, round, black eyes that exude an intelligence and kindness. Just 2 holes for a nose and large mouths. Their bodies are lean yet muscular, and they are covered in large, rough, squared-off, dark green scales. And the scales remind me of shingles on a house. They have 3 fingers and 3 toes on each hand and foot, which end in a sharp claw. Cofos do have a full set of teeth, but they are not sharpened fangs. Unlike the Sleestacks, they do not have a horn on the top of their heads, nor do they hiss. They communicate with each other sometimes through telepathy, and I find them to be quiet, friendly, and respectful. Cofos also do not have tails or anything along their spines, unlike the Sleestacks. The Cofos, like the Sleestacks, are cave dwellers. Those abundant granite cave and rock structures on their planet are put to good use. However, they do not spend a lot of time inside their cave systems. Instead, they are outside most of the time and simply use the caves as shelter. These caves are connected to much larger systems, and no Cofo owns their own cave house, as say we might have our own home or apartment on Earth. Their living situation is more communal, with the offspring always living with their mother. So the Cofo race is very dynamic, and it's never a dull moment on their realm. Change is both constant and celebrated within their culture. The Cofos do not mate for a lifetime, as they recognize that one is consistently in a state of change or growth. Instead, they have a dedicated partner for a time, and once enough has changed and their needs have shifted, they move on to another partner who's more suited for that stage of life. They will engage in a series of monogamous relationships. There are no hard feelings with a mate change. It just is how they are. And this is also why any offspring remain with their mothers. So while these families can be quite blended and large, there are strong familial bonds present. One of the most interesting things about this already fascinating Cofos is their ability to alter their appearance dramatically through shape-shifting. While they spend most of their time in their regular or default green reptilian forms, Cofos will use shape-shifting for two reasons. The first and most common reason being to express how they are feeling internally to another. It's an alternative form of communication. They may change their color and or texture of their skin to express something. Whatever they're feeling internally is kind of splashed into the external for all to see. The second is to camouflage themselves within the environment for protection purposes. Cofo beings are never on Earth in their Cofo bodies, meaning they're not on our planet pretending to be human to manipulate others. That's a different race of reptilians entirely. Cofos can change their form to anything, be it a living or non-living object. If a Cofo wanted to change into a tree, they would keep their normal upright posture and change their external visage into a tree. So the tree may only be around their natural height, perhaps a bit taller with foliage added. So for example, if an 8-foot Cofo being cannot become a 30-foot tree, if one wanted to shift into a boulder on the ground, then they would have to crouch down while changing their appearance to look like a giant rock. And these transformations are extremely convincing, and you'd never notice that they weren't the real thing. Their process of transformation is interesting. It only takes a few seconds for them to completely change their exteriors. It looks like a wave of change goes through their bodies from top down. Their thick and large scales almost turn over, much like how the X-Men character Mystique transforms herself. So once in a new form, the Cofo can remain there for approximately 30 minutes and then gradually de-transforms over a few minutes. There needs to be a short period of time where they stay in their default form before they can shapeshift again. Apparently, shapeshifting takes a lot of energy to accomplish. The Cofos do have their own UFO ships that fly around their planet and to other realms. This alien race does participate in the Galactic Federation of Light, or GFL for short. Their UFOs do occasionally come into Earth's airspace on behalf of their GFL missions, but they do not land nor do they walk amongst us in any kind of form, whether it be natural or shapeshifted. Their UFOs are, like the Cofos themselves, are very good at cloaking or camouflaging themselves in the sky. Their spaceships would never really be spotted by us. And when I asked if they would show me what their UFOs looked like, I was shown an image of a unique ship that's dark gray in color, featuring a top-heavy asymmetrical design. The top upper part of the ship has 3 large spike structures on each side, while the passengers sit in the ship hangs below in the lower cockpit area. Due to their excellent cloaking technology, these large ships can fly quite low in our atmosphere if need be and never be noticed. So I did research to see if a sighting of that type of unusual UFO has ever been recorded, and I couldn't find anything. So if anyone has ever seen a ship matching that description, please let me know in the comments. The Cofos as a species have embraced technology but are careful to use it responsibly and not allow it to take over their lives. They do have some sort of high-tech handheld laser weaponry that they employ to protect themselves. But inside their cave dwellings, I do see a type of light screen. There's no physical screen, but a display that's created by light coming up from underneath, and the light looks solid when activated. They wave their hand over it to turn it on or off. And I think it is used to watch broadcasts and as a directory of sorts. So what we use the internet for on Earth. I did not see them using this light screen nearly as much as we do on Earth, as much as we stare at our smartphones or computer screens. I usually see them spending time outside their caves amongst nature in small groups. Cofo society does have leadership that's involved in high-level planetary policy only. Their government stays out of the personal day-to-day lives of its population. They have a 3-tiered system that oversees each other, so no corruption can occur. The top or first tier leadership board has 5 sitting members. The second tier has 10 sitting members, and the third tier has 15 sitting members. The potential leaders volunteer for service for a short time, and then another individual will replace them. Whomever volunteers and best matches the vibration of what's currently going on within the ever-changing Cofo society will be permitted to serve their planet. It is possible for a leader to serve on one tier and then serve on another tier in a later term. Cofo has a history of their planet being attacked along with some of their surrounding planets. So 2 of their neighboring planets became isolationist as a result. So the Alchibans, who I previously featured, of which is one. So the Cofos took a different approach to this experience than the Alchibans and decided to solve the problem by learning to protect themselves better. They are still very focused not only on self-protection, but on doing their best to protect the universe as a whole. A few million years ago, Cofo society was a newer realm that was in the 5th dimension. At that time in history, the Corvus constellation had many of these younger worlds surrounding an ancient one that ultimately the Dark wanted to destroy. This hidden, to us at least on Earth, an ancient realm is vital to our universe, but this alien group does not wish to be discussed at this time, perhaps in the future. So the Dark beings endeavored to take out the low-hanging fruit first as a tactical maneuver. The Cofos at that time were a little too trusting of others and allowed some relationships to develop with other beings who ultimately did not have the purest intentions. So these negative entities did a series of major takeover attempts, both by trying to destroy their society from the inside as well as external bombardments. Many Cofo lives were taken, and some were stolen from their home world to be captive pets for the amusement of these evil beings. Their shape-shifting capabilities are enchanting to some, and they would capture them to use them as a toy of sorts. Ultimately, these attacks by the Dark were not successful. While traumatizing, it spurred tremendous growth on behalf of the Cofos and a gradual ascension to the 10th dimension. So a completely different yet productive approach was taken to protect their world. And they also haven't shied away from helping fight the evil that seeks to infiltrate our universe. True to how the Cofos are, they embraced massive change and marched forward. Hopefully you enjoyed learning about the Cofos, and as a result, it has opened your mind to the possibility of good reptilian races out there. The Cofos are acutely aware of how the reptilians are viewed by those on Earth, and it's kind of the reason why they've been hesitant to step forward and be known. Nonetheless, I'm really happy that they decided to come forward and to introduce themselves to it at this time. So what do you think about the shape-shifting alien race? Are they scary to you? Would you be willing to trust them? Any ET groups mentioned here that I've made videos about before will be linked below in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, kindly subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and enjoy my other videos highlighting other unknown galactic races in our universe. Should you want to have your Akashic record read by me, the link to the website is below. In the meantime, I love you all, and welcome to a higher dimension.